Hi, I'm Mike, and this is Our Wyoming Life. We're hanging out down here in what we call hayfield number 2, or the oil well field. This hayfield is usually a pretty good producer, and the reason we're down here today is because I'm excited to announce that it looks like we're going to be haying this year. It's been 3 years, almost 3 years, since we've broken out the hay equipment. In fact, last time we hayed, we got hailed out, and so did my drone.
Then I lost control of the drone altogether. Here you can see me in the gator, and I'm actually chasing after the drone as it's moving away from me, apparently under its own control. After a bit, I did get a little bit of control of it. I started to bring it into land, and I wasn't really sure what was going on, but then I lost control of it again. And once the rain hit, well, off it went. Odd thing was that we had pretty clear skies. There was a storm in the distance. We were pretty sure it was going to go around us, but man, were we wrong. The hail then hit the drone. And once that happened, I lost all ability to control it, and it took off. Best guess is that the storm, even before it hit, had some electrical influence maybe on the internal circuitry, rendering me as useless and Sir Isaac Newton in the pilot seat. After flying for over a mile away, the drone does start towards the ground where it smashes hard and still records for a full minute. The hail pounds the camera and rolls them out over and over again until the camera finally died. Who knows if the drone will ever fly again, but really, that's the least of our problems. Fields that were full of clover and alfalfa only 10 minutes ago, completely destroyed. Hundreds of acres are pounded into the ground. Stalks are broken off and left just as sticks sticking out of the ground. We've completely lost about 200 acres of alfalfa.
But this year, we're looking forward to a much better experience with haying, or at least we hope. Here in the forecast, we've got about 10 days with very little rain. We might have some afternoon thunderstorms to worry about, but we've had so much rain over the past month or so that it's actually kind of a relief to have a little bit of a break. Let the sun shine, let some warm temperatures hit this grass out here, and hopefully it goes through the roof. I've actually been measuring our grass over the last few weeks, and this is the very first video that you're going to get to see one of the time lapse of our measurements, just kind of seeing how things have grown. Check this out. I'm going to be taking the same picture every single day, and we can watch the growth of the grass. That's pretty impressive if you ask me, but I guess the proof is in the pudding, because we still have quite a ways to go until we hit the day that we're actually going to be cutting any hay out here. I'm still looking for maybe even another foot, maybe another 1.5 feet of growth, which would be great as long as the weather holds out and we don't get any hail storms or anything like that happens. But if we can get that, I think we're going to be good to go. And really, it's important for us to be able to grow our own hay here on the ranch. It's kind of that whole self-sustainability thing that we're working towards. And as long as we can do it, then the ranch moves on to the next year. Because if we have to buy hay year after year, well, we might as well just sell our hay equipment and do that. Why even bother? We should just graze all of these beautiful hay fields. But for now, we want to make sure that we're producing our own hay to be able to stay in business here on the ranch. And that's what we're doing today, is we're actually getting ready for haying season. We're going to head back to the shop, and we are basically going to start pulling out hay equipment. We're going to get the tractors up and running. We're going to pull out the mower, the rake, and the baler. And the big thing that we have to do today is actually just go through each one and try to figure out if they're going to run, because they haven't ran for a while, and if they have any issues, what we need to do to get those issues fixed. If we need to order parts or if we can do it from here. Today is very much just kind of like a reconnaissance day and trying to figure out what exactly needs done and how we're going to do it. Coming up with a plan as we head into haying. We still have branding on the way before we even get to haying, but by the end of the month, I expect we'll be cutting hay out here, and we have to be ready for it. The last time we cut hay, like I said, we got hailed out, and we don't want that to happen again. So cutting hay this year is going to be a priority. It's going to have to happen fast. It's going to be dirty, and we're going to get it done. One way or the other. I am really excited to be cutting hay because, well, like I said, we haven't done it for a few years, but it's actually a really good time on the ranch. A lot of tractor time happens, a lot of really long 16-hour days, a lot of worry, a lot of sweat, but some blood. That does happen too. But it's something that's very rewarding to me to be able to reach the end of that and be able to put up hay and stack hay and say, hey, we made this here. We were grass farmers. We grew this grass. And that hay is what is going to sustain our cows for the entire winter. So with our new business plan, with everything being 100% direct to consumer, we want to be able to control our own costs. We want to be able to be self-sustaining, and this is very exciting for me to be able to do this all right here on the ranch. And like I said, we're heading back to the shop where we can start pulling out equipment, and unfortunately I doubt we're going to really get into fixing anything today. That's going to be, it could even be, I don't know what's going to be happening. So if we start working on something to fix something, it could turn into a bigger project than what we need. And really, it's not a bad idea to occasionally just take a look at something and see what the problems are and then sleep on that. I mean, that's why we're doing this so early, because I want to be able to pull out the equipment, see what's working, see what's not working, and be able to come up with a plan, a game plan on how to make hay this year the most efficient it's ever been. First step in this process today is actually going to be getting the tractors out, the workhorses of the entire haying experience. Being able to get these tractors out and running is not really too big of a deal. Obviously, we've got everything running all winter long, but we do have oil changes on the way. We've got to change hydraulic filters. We've got to change out hydraulic fluid, and that's stuff that we want to get done before we start haying. So we're going to pull out tractors first. We're going to get them lined up, and then we've got to figure out what tractor is going to do what when we start to hay. And to get us started, this is our 4055. We call it the farm tractor because that's all it really does is farm. It makes hay. We use it for seeding, which we haven't been able to do for a while. And hopefully we're going to give this girl some new life as we get her out and running, pulled out of here. She doesn't have a loader on her, so not very useful for feeding cows or anything like that. This tractor's sole purpose right now is haying. it's also the tractor that this year is going to be running our John Deere 568 net wrap baler, which, just like the tractor, hasn't seen the sun in almost 3 years. And the dust really shows. Yeah, it's been sitting for a while. That's okay. We're going to get it back up to shape, and it hopefully won't take us very long. So this is the end portion of haying, of course, making the bale with the baler, and we're going to come take a look at this in just a few minutes, see how it's doing. But first, we've got to get the first part of the process, and that's cutting the grass. And to do that, we need our mower. And along with our mower, we're going to need our rake, which helps rake up all that grass. And Jeff and I are going to divide and conquer here. Jeff's going to jump in his tractor, his favorite tractor, the 6410. And I'm going to jump in the 6420. I'll grab the mower, okay, and you grab the rake. Okay. And we're right next to each other, so if either one of us need any help, we're there to do it. Already got the baler out.
I see.
I figured we'll pull everything over here. We'll run through everything and see how it's working, and then figure out a game plan for repairs and parts and all that kind of good stuff. So
sounds good.
We're ahead of the game here, Jeff.
Don't jinx it.
All right. Okay, this is my 6420. This tractor actually has our GPS built into it with our FJ Dynamics system. Hopefully we'll be able to use that a little bit during haying. We're going to go over and get the mower, which has been sitting outside for the last 3 years and is probably going to need a little bit of work. And of course, Jeff's going to grab the rake. So let's head over. Hey Jeff, do you have a pin in there?
I have 2 plus 1 in 3 point.
Awesome, thank you. So if they look familiar, it's well, it's because they are. The 6410 and the 6420 are basically the same tractor, the same series of tractor, different years, of course, and that's how John Deere, through some miraculous internal accounting, keeps track of what model and what year you've got. The 6420 was here on the ranch when we came in 2008, so I think it's about a 2006 model. Of course, the 6410 has been around even longer than that. So these guys are no stranger to haying. However, they have not gotten to hay in quite a while, but we're going to change that this year, I hope. Both of these tractors, by the way, running about 95 horsepower. The mower that we're going to be using is a Rouse 99 sickle mower, and that will allow us to cut 18 feet at a time. The rake that Jeff is grabbing will rake about 30 feet, so pretty efficient way to get things done. So in all the years that you've been coming here to the ranch, you've never gotten a chance to cut hay, bale hay, rake hay, none of that stuff.
No, but I've had these implements out.
Oh, for ranch roundup. Yeah, you bring them up and around. So you have actually hooked these up before.
I have hooked them up.
You're right.
Static display.
Do you remember how?
Nope.
Okay. I'm trying to remember myself. I have to go back and watch one of our old videos. All right, so this rake is a 30-foot H&S rake, and basically there's two different hydraulic systems on it. One that raises and lowers the wheels, which push the hay into a windrow, and the other one that opens and closes it. So we have a single and a double. So the single goes in whatever you want it, number 1 or number 2, and it doesn't matter if it's the upper or the lower one, and then the other two go in the other one. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. I honestly don't know if we have flat tires or anything else here, because there's this weird green stuff growing that's blocking my view of everything. But I think what we'll do is pull it up, and we'll get up on the gravel or somewhere out here. Okay. Well, actually, we just probably pull it right out here, and we'll open it up and make sure everything's working. And yeah, flat tires, whatever else we got going on. So go ahead and pull out, get yourself out into an open area, and we'll open it up.
Okay.
Well, there's a flat tire. Okay, so one thing I really do like about, well, I can't say I like about haying, but you get flat tires, right? So these little units come in handy out in the field. You don't have to pack around a compressor with you. They do take forever to fill up a tire, but it's better than the alternative of sitting with a flat tire. So we're going to use this little Ryobi portable air compressor. Put some air in here. Well, there's your problem. We got a big old horseshoe nail from 1922 stuck in the tire. Air's just coming right out. But that's okay. It'll still give us time to get this thing checked. So before that tire goes flat, we are going to pull out these brackets, which actually hold everything together. Boom. We can just move them out of the way. Now when we hay, we'll actually disconnect these completely, but we're just going to let them hang for now. And the other thing we have to do is back here on the back, Jeff, there's a cotter pin that's stuck through right here on your side.
Both sides. You okay?
Yep. So I don't know if you're going to be able to get it out.
Yeah, it's under a lot of pressure.
Yep. So we're going to have to relieve some of that pressure. So go ahead and jump in there, and whichever one's your single, try wiggling that a little bit, and we'll see if we can get that pressure off. There we go. So these pins come out of here, and we store them here on the end. Okay, so now you can go and open, and you're gonna have to drive forward slowly as you open it up. So this thing obviously swings open to that 30 feet that I was talking about and directs all of the grass that you cut into the back here. This is adjustable, so we can adjust the size of our windrow depending on how wide we want it to be. If you've got plenty of hay, you go wider. If you don't, maybe you have to put it together a little bit more. The wider you can go, the better, because it's going to pick up more evenly in the baler. That looks good. So if you, now you should be able to drop your wheels. And there you go. Obviously we need a little grease, but that's part of this whole process. All right, so if you back it up and close it back together, Doing this while moving actually helps reduce some of the stress on the frame of the thing. Which, you remember, this actually broke a few years ago during haying, and we ended up having to get it all welded back together. Whoop, forward. Got it. We're gonna grab our mower and see what it does. This is our Rouse 99 mower, manufactured in Nebraska. I think Gilbert got this one in North Dakota, if I remember right. So we are gonna pull it out of here. You know, honestly, we'll get it all hooked up, and then we might be able to test it right here on this grass.
Mow your way out. Huh?
Just mow my way out and see how it works. So let's get her hooked up and see what happens. All right, locked on. Okay, and on this one, we go one in one hydraulic and one in the other. So you got two different levers, one for front, one for back. I never remember which one's which, so. And it's super obvious that everything out here needs a very good bath. Lots of grease, lots of oil all over the place. That's just a winter of use, but not a bad thing. It's just got to be cleaned up. You're going to get dirty during haying. I'm just warning you.
No problem.
You're going to have to get not as nice as shirts.
These are 20-year-old shirts. They're fine.
All right, since we're going to be testing this thing out, we've got to drop our mower arms. This is the piece of equipment that makes me nervous. There's a lot of moving parts. You know, it's been sitting, rusting, obviously. See lots of rust there. This is the thing I'm afraid we're going to turn on and it's just going to explode. Yeah. But I mean, there's really nothing we can do but try it, I guess. So let's see what happens. Okay, we've laid down both the sickles. Now it's time to turn them on, drive forward, and cut a little bit of grass. Well, as far as I can tell, that's actually not bad. I mean, it's still cut. We have a few problems to fix. You can see in here, got some broken teeth. That one was actually replaced with the wrong tooth, but we must have ran out or something. Lots of rust to deal with. Blades aren't very sharp. You can see that there's stuff stuck on that. Well, that's a broken tooth there. You can see that. Lots of teeth replacement. It might actually be worth just replacing the entire sickle rather than going through and trying to replace every single tooth. Over here, probably more of the same. No broken guards. So these are rock guards. They keep the rocks from getting in there, supposedly, about 50% of the time. But they do get in there and break your teeth. But, honestly, impressed. Little grease. Little spit.
Broken teeth. teeth on the blades.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we can go through and replace each tooth individually, which we're going to do a lot of during haying anyway. But it's kind of nice to start off with a brand new sickle. So sickles cost about $100 a piece, or at least they used to last time we did this. I don't know what they cost now. So
Supply chain issues.
yeah, exactly. I'm going to fold these up, and we'll get this over by the shop. We'll bring the rake over, and then we'll fire up the baler and see what happens there. Now the final step of this whole thing, somebody's going to ask, why does the baler get to live indoors while everything else has to live outdoors, at least for the last 3 years? And that's mostly because the baler is the most expensive part of this equation. It's also, I guess it's probably got the, maybe not the most moving parts, but it's got a lot of moving parts to it. And yeah, honestly, it's green, so it's probably the most expensive part of the whole thing. All right, so first things first, I'm going to run it through the basic stuff. Open up the back, put the pickups down. We'll talk a little bit about how it works. We'll fire it up and then see if we got any problems.
Okay.
Okay. Come with me inside the tractor and we'll run through everything here. Yeah, everything's dirty. All right, so inside the tractor, we've got a baling computer. Sits right here. That's our computer. Keeps track of what's going on, and obviously it has some sort of error. So we're just going to turn that off for right now. Now, if I did this right, our pickup wheels, which are the wheels on the front, are going to go up and down. Those lower the pickups, which then pick up the hay. If you're going over rocky ground or rough ground or something like that, you might want to pick them up. The other lever that we have in here opens up the back, and that's what we're going to use to eject the bale after we get done making a bale. So that is this lever, and I'll switch you outside to Jeff's point of view for the opening and closing of this part. All right, so that's the inside of the baler. Some of these belts have seen better days, but we're going to work with them. I know we have one belt that has a tear in it somewhere, and we're probably going to have to replace that belt sooner than later. We also, over the years, have actually broken a few teeth, bent a few teeth, but those I think we'll be able to repair. Looks like all of our pickups are there. We're going to kick everything on here in just a minute. And we're going to do it with the back open to start with, just so we can see everything turning. But this is the chamber where the bale is made. Once the belts form the bale, the net wrap wraps the bale, and then we kick it out. I'll show you how all that works during haying, but hopefully that belt's got a little dent in it too. All right, let's fire it up. There you can see we've got a little hydraulic leak there we're going to have to take care of. Now I'm going to close down the back door. That'll get everything turning. Really quick, let's look inside, see what's happening here. Big belt. Moving everything. Dang it right now. I'm going to go ahead and close it down. All the belts should start turning, hopefully. I don't want to think about that hose right now. That is one dirty machine. Obviously, a lot of cleanup to be done, hoses to fix, lots of maintenance, general maintenance. We've got filters to change on tractors, oil to change on tractors, lots of grease fittings to hit, and then maybe in a few weeks we'll be cutting hay. I hope so. I think that tire's low too. Looks like it.
I'll take your word for it.
I'm thinking it's good to get a look at this stuff ahead of time, start running through things. You know, obviously we don't want to be the day before haying and have to deal with a broken hydraulic hose. So
Right.
everything has a half-life, and I think we hit it with some of this stuff. At least sitting in the barn doing nothing. I think equipment does better, like people, when they have something to do.
I think you're
And
right.
equipment sitting around for 3 years, no fun at all. Speaking of which, we have stuff to do. So we're going to hang this one up, and we will be back next week with a brand new video. Be sure to subscribe, follow along, explore the ranch life, escape the ordinary, and maybe learn a few things here and there. Jeff, do you ever learn anything still?
Every day.
Every day, me too. Alrighty guys, we'll see you next time right here on Our Wyoming Life. Say bye, Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.